Let's go. Millennium with the Heart of Eyes of Blue, searching our deck for the Millennium Ankh. We now have Planet Pathfinder jumping off the field, searching for a Necro Valley. Now, we could have used Effect Veiler on the Planet Pathfinder, and I would argue we probably should have. Because how are we going to deal with that Necro Valley now? We had the Millennium Ankh, which we're going to chain Full Loss to get at least one draw off of this summon from the extra deck. And we can use Veiler onto the Exodia so that it does not set a card during the end phase. But was that set card worse than the Necro Valley? I'm not so sure. Okay, Veiler, negate, no set from the end phase, mates. And what we have here is with the Necro Valley, any card that tries to target a card or move a card in the graveyard is going to be negated, and cards in the graveyard also cannot be banished. We also have the Fires of Rage, which will activate to destroy the entire field. We also have there can only be one of each monster type on the field. So you got one dragon, you can have one spellcaster. Now, can you turn the one spellcaster and one dragon into a dragon synchro? No, because Konami thinks you're trying to summon a second dragon while you control a dragon, even though you're definitely not doing that. Maybe they should errata that type of ruling, because I think it's quite ridiculous. And in Graveyard, does this even work with the effect of Necro Valley on field? If this card's in the grave and your opponent summons a monster that's level 8 or 3000 attack or higher, you could send the monster to the graveyard, and if you do special summon this card, so if you're trying to move a card from the graveyard, this would negate the effect. So that actually would not work. Maiden of White setting up with the True Light, which could summon a BlueEyes White Dragon from the hand. But okay, we're going to Wishes of Eyes of Blue get negated on the Millennium Exodia. Now, it's worth noting here, can the Exodia stop the True Light? That's a very important ruling to note. Let's read it. When a spell or trap card or effect is it actually could negate the activation, but it does not destroy. So the True Light would remain on the field as the Wishes discards the Call by the Grave, which cannot be used anyway, as we now don't get to search for, oh, damn. Didn't even have to flip up, there could be only one. Didn't even have to use the Fires of Exodia to wipe out the entire field. A single Exodia, well, Necro Valley and a single Exodia negate was enough, mate. Let's keep on going. Let's go. We're now going first. How good is a stun deck going second? It should not be good whatsoever. Imperm onto Sage with the Eyes of Blue means that you're going to lose to another Sage in hand or a Maiden already in hand. How does a Sage in hand stop this Imperm play? Well, I make a Spirit, search for Mausoleum, I additional summon the Sage, then it's no good. So my recommendation on your Imperm and Veiler is to not do this. You do it onto the Spirit Link 1, and if you Ash Blossom, you save it for the Wishes of Eyes of Blue. Those are the two big choke points. Negate the Sage, mate. Spirit with Eyes of Blue, searching for the Mausoleum here. Again, either another Sage in the hand or another Maiden. There's so many other cards you could have in your hand to very easily play through that impermanence. We're going to Maiden, send ourselves to the graveyard to set up our True Light into our back row, send a BlueEyes White Dragon from the deck to the grave, use the Spirit with Eyes of Blue to reborn our BlueEyes White Dragon here, triggering the in-grave Maiden to reborn herself. Now we're going to link off into our Blue-Eyes Spirit Dragon. Wishes, discard Food Loss, searching for a Roar to summon a Blue-Eyes from the deck or grave. We also have Sage, target the Maiden. Maiden will chain to being targeted to reborn the Sage, as she then is sent to the grave to summon a Blue-Eyes Dragon as we summon a double Spirit Dragon. Spirit Dragon number 1 going into a Crimson Dragon, searching for a Synchro Rumble. Ain't no way. Reborn the Sage from engrave back in the field as we roar. Reborn Blue-Eyes Dragon engrave back onto the field here, going into a Blue-Eyes Spirit Dragon, which will then jump off into an Ultimate Spirit Dragon, going into a Divine Cipher Dragon. The True Light also setting up a Majesty. Damn. What was up with that? We have non-target pop, one card on the field. It's actually 2 cards we could pop. We also, but it's still 1 disruption. And then the Ultimate Spirit will negate the activation of a card on the field. Cipher Dragon will negate a monster effect, then destroy a card in the field. And then the Spirit Dragon will turn into another form of disruption. So Quadra Disrupt. Let's go. Heart with the Eyes of Blue. Cipher could have negated that, not the Ultimate Spirit. The Millennium Ankh is allowing to be activated. We're not negating it, because if we do, they could activate another one. We don't want to deal with multiple Onks in hand, so allow them to just get their Exodia on the field. Now, how do we deal with this Exodia on field? It cannot be destroyed by card effects, so the Majesty is not an out to it, and it also can negate a spell or trap card. Well, we have a monster effect as we go into the Moonlight Dragon activating 2 on special summon, target a special summon monster, return it to the hand. Now, Decade, we could do another Millennium Ankh here, right? Well, the Millennium Ankh states that somewhere on here, you cannot summon for the rest of the turn. If we negate this, they activate another one. If we allow it to go through, then stop the Exodia itself, they then cannot activate another one. That's going to be a big way on how you try to stop this deck. We're going to start this off with the Millennium Senjin, which will be revealing the Ankh to summon itself from the back row and search our deck for a monster. That's going to be completely negated by the Ash Blossom. No search for you. Among all the effects that you could Ash, that is the best one. I would say so. And because of that, I would not lead with the best effect that you could Ash. Have them Ash something else, like the Golem, and then follow up with the Senjin. Reveal the Ankh as we search for the Wedju Temple. Yeah, I guess they're both pretty damn good, huh? I mean, the Wedju Temple's got to set the Droll Knockbird from our hand, which we're not going to even be using. And just like that, we have Exodia. So what we did stop here was them searching for the BlueEyes, I would say. So this ability of a level 8 or higher, which would be like the Spirit Dragon, I guess you'd be negating at that point, or you could just use it on a BlueEyes Dragon. You would then be able to send the BlueEyes Dragon to the graveyard, so it's good that we stopped that. We now, at the moment, have just double disruption. Negate a spell and trap card with the Exodia, disallow them from further adding from the deck after they add once, but then we're going to set up a third form of disruption in the end phase. What's it going to be? The ability to simply obliterate the entire field, destroying all cards the opponent controls. So how do we bait out our entire field being destroyed and then having a follow-up play all through a spell and trap card negate and under the effect of Droll Knockbird? Is that possible? We're going to use up our normal summon on the Kaiser Seahorse, going into the Spirit with Eyes of Blue. Triggering the Kaiser and the Spirits with Eyes of Blue, we're going to search our deck for Mausoleum as we send a Maiden from the deck to the grave. Send our Maiden. Maiden's waiting for us to summon a BlueEyes to reborn herself. And just like that, we're under the effect of Droll or not, because we're going to finger that Droll. But the Exodia will negate the finger. So we are under the effect of Droll, and we have one disruption left. The ability to destroy the entire field. Wishes with Eyes of Blue is completely dead in our hand, not usable. Triggering Maiden to reborn herself onto the field. Obliterate the entire field as we then end our turn. Shoot. Yeah. Exodia is going to set another card during the end phase. Yeah, okay. Well, 2-1 victory. Let's hop into another match. Anderson passing with a set max C. Now back to you. Apollo to 1. Yeah, that's a good one. Shield of the Millennium, searching our deck for a Millennium Ankh. I think that's not a good Ash, but you pretty much have to Ash it anyway, because what if it's their only play, right? And that's why you should start with your Millennium Shield as your first play, because they pretty much have to Ash it. They gotta hope that they're getting lucky. We're going to Ash, negate that Max C mate. We do not want them to draw at least 2 cards here as we summon our Golem and then summon our Exodia from the deck here. Wedju Temple. I guess we'd be summoning at least 3 times. Yeah. Oh boy. This is definitely an Exodia deck, so we're going to search for the Heart of Eyes of Blue. Heart of Eyes of Blue. Discarded, searching for our Ankh. Ankh is now here. We are top tier. Reveal from the deck, hand, or field to come forth and summon our Exodia. Had the Maxi gone through, we could have had a nice draw 3. That is unfortunate. Wait a second. We're going second, and we are only boosted at 2,000 attack. Not enough for lethal damage here. This is where normally you'd go into the Silhouette Rabbit, set the back row, and before you even activate the effect of your Millennium Ankh, though, we do have it. We went for more damage instead of disruption. Are we going to regret that? As we do have the Fires of Rage being able to wipe out the entire opposing field. Magna Hut banishing away that BlueEyes Dragon in Grave, which is a mini form of disruption. Maxi plus Exodia. Exodia can't negate the Ash, negating the Max C. Magnahut's gonna swing in onto the Senju so we can have a lighter dark in the grave to banish to summon our Druisworn. We're not gonna even bother using Ash Blossom to negate that Max C. And with the Druisworn, we're gonna go in onto the Exodia, boosting up to 4,000 attack. As we then send Exodia to the grave. It looks like we should have swung into the Senjin instead. Now we can't use the Fires of Rage to wipe out the entire opposing field here. It's too much. It's too much. Exodia. Let's hop into game 2. We have LZ discarding the Impermanence to come forth and summon. This would be a great effect to use Ash Blossom on. As we hit them with the Droll. Droll is massive against White Forces. The Sylvie really wanted to search on its summon. As we're now going all into the Fiendsmith plays. We're going to use Requiem Summon for the deck into the Engraver. Druisworn Banish because we do need that extra body to get the Engraver back engraved to summon the Sequence. And with Sequence, we're going to fuse with 2 bodies engraved to summon our Lacrima. Lacrima on summon will reborn the Engraver. As we further go into an Apollo USA. Apollo versus Exodia. We Millennium. The problem is, these, I guess they activate from the hand to put themselves into the back row, then you negate that. That's pretty good. They have a Millennium Ankh. You could try to negate the Exodia in the damage step. That would be a good play to definitely do, so it does not get boosted up. So I would say Apollo is kind of decent against Exodia based off of that. We're going to use the Engraver to reborn itself back onto the field here. Are they once per turn? That's the question. You can only use each of the effects once per turn. So yeah, in hand, you would activate to place it, and then the Apollo would negate that. If it's already in the back row through an effect like Wedju Temple, though, that's where the Apollo's not good. Wedju Temple will go completely around the Apollo, setting up the monster in the back row, then they activate as non-monsters, which the Apollo cannot negate, then they're on the field, and the Senjin is big enough to swing over Apollo without her ever even negating anything. So we already have the out. And on summon, when it searches, can you Veiler it? No, it's like a virtual world being summoned from the hand and searching within the same resolution. Instead, it summons from the back row. You could Ash it, though. That's big. Ash on the Senjin is our big play. So we have Ash, Veiler, and triple negate Apollo. Ooh, I think we got baited, right? Senjin is now going to come out and take out Apollo, then main phase 2, set up Exodia? I would think so. Searching for the Heart of Eyes of Blue. Battle exactly what I said. We do have Veiler now. Senjin from in hand is going to be summoning our Doom Dragon. Push the Fiendsmith Engraver into the... Jesus. Holy moly. Let's hop into another match. Exodia clapping it up. Millennium is here versus Black Wings. No, it's not Black Wings. This is going to be a Bystial control deck. The 1-card Steam the Cloak is full Fiendsmith combo. It's crazy. We're going to set up with the Golem first into the back row, activating the Searcher deck for the Wedju Temple. Ash Blossom is going to negate. Just like that, mate. We still lose our 2,000 life points. Stellar's going to follow up, send the Golem to summon for the deck. Nothing as the Veiler negates the Stellar. Now, what we have left is Imperm as the Fool Loss is now dead because we have anything on the field. We're going to go into the Spirit with Eye. Wait, we still cooking up a little bit. This is a very interesting deck, Earl. What is going on here? Imperm set, pass back to you. Can the Imperm be good enough to stop the full Fiendsmith play? We're going to go Steam the Cloak to then trigger its effect to summon a token onto the field. Now, with this, we're going to tribute off the token to reborn itself. When it leaves the field, it summons another token for some reason. Token again. One body, full Fiendsmith play. As we now go into a Requiem, Requiem's going to come forth and summon for the deck. You can't Imperm the Requiem. You're going to have to wait for the Sequence. Now, we're going to Requiem equip onto the Engraver, send the Spirit with Eyes of Blue to the graveyard here. As we now go into Nightmare Phoenix, instead of our Sequence popping away that Impermanence. As we're now with the Serenir being sent to the grave, send a Lubellion from the deck to the grave here. Engraver reborn itself back in the field. As the Fualos will now be activating before you go into the Sequence. We're going to banish away the Esteller, which you do not get to draw because it's a summon from the hand instead of from the deck or the extra deck. The Millennium put you in lethal damage. We lost 2,000 life. So 6k damage is lethal. Oh my Jesus. What do we have here? We got the Golem plus a monster in hand. We got True Light. The Ogre is going to be used on the True Light. This is a situation. Lots of Bystials, which is very good against Blue-Eyes White Dragon. Also good against Fiendsmith, which is why we're playing a Bystial control deck. It's pretty good against the meta. Instead of using the Ogre on the True Light, we're going to pop away the Golem. Now, does the Golem still search? Let's read the card. You are going to be special summoning this card, then you could add a Wedju Temple. So it attempts to summon, it doesn't summon, then you add the temple, right? If something does not happen before the then, everything after then never happens. Always think about how that happens. Then means this must happen. It did not happen, no search. Wow, we ended. We do have Fualos though. We don't want to set the True Light block on our Fualos. Could draw per summon from the extra deck or the deck. We're going to Engraver, search our deck for the Tract. Tract, search our deck for another Engraver, discard that Engraver. We could Reborn from the graveyard without getting hit by the Fualos draw. And now we're going to further continue to summon, not giving them draws for Fualos until now, as we now go into a Requiem. Requiem with nothing is summoned for the deck, but we now have another Lighter Dark Engrave to banish. 7,400 damage here, which is... The Millennium keeps putting you in lethal range! That minus 2k puts him in lethal.